This isn't tummy. This isn't belly. Welcome, Devil's Advocate, Hot Take. And you're already filming. Alright, so the rest, this video is part of the week 16 Devil's Advocate take here, where the week 16 is Seek and Ye shall find. Been that way since the dawn of time. This is kind of a funny one because of the mess around and find out grab that I have here. But yeah, start off by talking about the game of hide and seek and just like the story time aspect of it. But other than that, went into being comical about the whole math scenario in there and how it's the F around and find out. The real video is a bit more explicit. I don't censor my language, but it was for the sake of the comedy of it. But yeah, bless me. So I don't regret it. But yeah, the big brain professors that came up with the chart called the F around and the find the F out graph, and how it operates on the first quadrant on two axes, one axis being the more you F around, and the other graph axis being the more you tend to find the F out. When in mathematics and geometry, you find out and learn more about shading, and there were two plot points in reference to the F around and find out graph here, where you can shade the upper side of the line creation and and you could also shade the underside of the line in this graph equation for further talking points and understanding of it, where on that graph, if you shade everything above, that's to say that the more you F around, the longer you choose to F around, the harder you F around, the bigger things you'll be finding out, and the greater your chances of severity and repercussions for their actions will take place, and the more you'll likely overlook certain less important things and smaller details, or be overlooked, such that where is pen and paper? Such that if I was to use this here as my little graph, F round find outs. Where here in this example, I'm gonna bolden this a bit for the camera. If this is our graphic arrow, and this is our shaded region, if we shade in above the axis point, then what we're effectively saying is that the more you go up on this F around, the more you follow this path of effing around, the more you'll effectively be finding out. Where here in accordance with the graph, when you shade in this above the arrow marker that follows, the more you F around, and the longer you go about effing around, the more you'll tend to overlook here in the lower region, right? That or be overlooked. Because all these things down here is a small probability and so on and so forth. But once we include shading, from the very start, there's always the chance that you could find out something. I wasn't even looking for trouble, but trouble found me. Yeah. the F around, what you tend to find out, you can find out things at all levels, but the likelihood that what you find out is 0 is generally non-existent. So, in accordance with the F around and find out, when you add shading, you'll always find something out, right? And the more you find out just increases the minimum amount of things you'll come to find out the more you F around. The more you mess around, the more you get involved in, the bigger the things you're involved in, the bigger difference you're making on the things you're getting involved in. The more you F around here, and that proceeds, the more you can't overlook certain number of things. Like here, I'll put the number 4. Right? If you're only involved in 4 things, right? Put that 4 there as well. If you're the Fantastic Four involved in 4 things, the bare minimum of that 4 and 4 is there and up. You can't be ignorant of all this stuff anymore. There's a bare minimum of things you'll be involved in, and a bare minimum number of things you'll be able to claim ignorance over, right? Because you effed around some more, and thus you're bound to have found more out, right? Such that the more you F around and the longer you F around for, the harder it is to overlook certain things or be overlooked, and the harder it is for you to not be overlooked and associated with things. Let's just say I've been in the accounting business for, I don't know, 4 years. After 4 years' time, you mean to tell me you don't know about this and that? That sounds utterly ridiculous. How stupid are you? How uninvolved were you to not know about this and that after 4 years of working in this career path? Like, you know what I'm saying? The more you F around, the more you're bound to find out or be held accountable for the things you should have found out in this amount of time, right? So that when you put timestamps and stuff to things, that really can be a catch-22, because it comes with plenty of positives, but at the same time it comes with a couple negative things, which to certain people aren't even negatives. They're just extra benefits, right? But to other perspectives and certain agendas, those negatives can be relatively major to the person, because the more you F around, the more you tend to find out. And the more you tend to find out, the less ignorant you can be to those said topics, right? So, I'm gonna make another graph here right next to that one. It's the same graph, I promise you. But the shading on this one is different. Find out. And shade. same difference here. Now the shading's on the bottom, where this is the line of F around and finds out, and when you shade under, it's a bit of a different talking point. The more you F around, the more you can't be ignorant to certain things, and the more you're held accountable and susceptible to the things others aren't or can't even be held accountable to. Such with the same example with, I was in this and that career or path for 4 years. There's like this minimal standard of things you should have or definitely came into contact with to give you credibility, and if you don't know it, your credibility is just out the window, right? There, where the more you F around and the more you're finding out, there is a higher bar that of standards and expectations you're held to, and so on and so forth, and thus it. And from there, we get into that conversation of seek and you'll find answers, where at the end of the day, everyone's living their lives in order to find answers for the things they want to know and know about. And when we seek them out, we're bound to reach some sort of conclusion, whether that conclusion was of our own volition, of our own making and our own discoveries, or whether those conclusions of F around and find outs were gathered from other people doing the research and coming to the conclusions, and we're hopping on that bandwagon of support or denial, right? Whether it be our truth, the truth, or someone else's truth, so help me, it's just been that way since the dawn of time. So, lo and behold, if you seek out your devils, and you'll eventually find an advocate for you. Hashtag devil's advocates. And if you live long enough to connect with said devil and that advocate with them, to be supported and supplemented by them, or at least have comprehensive understanding of the answers you were seeking out, gosh. I'm gonna redo the whole thing now. Seek your devils and you'll find advocates for yourself. Should you live long enough to actually be able to connect with said devil's advocate, so that the advocate can help, support, or supplement you in your comprehensive understanding for the answers you were finding and your ignorance, for you and others to be assisted by your advocates, that would be most optimal, right? Seek and you'll find. Seek out your devils, the answers to your demons and your plights, and get in touch with some advocates. There's always cases where people don't actually want you to be advocated for, or to have an advocate that helps you articulate your problem, because my problems are better than yours, or your situation is not as bad as mine, right? Should you ever come into a situation where you can actually connect with your advocate, actually connect with the people trying to help you out, that would be preferable. But that's not always really the case of what everyone actually gets to move on with. So, too bad, so sad, put a sock in it, or keep searching, keep effing around, and keep finding answers until you have the answers you need, right? So, but there's always the touchy subject of whether or not you actually are able to live long enough to enjoy the fruits of the labor, right? So, be careful in everything and anything you choose to do or get yourself caught up in doing. Remember, it's the F around and find out curve, not the lenience graph or something like that, right? This is a graph everyone understands and knows about if you know the English language or have gone any distance past middle school and math. If you made it past middle school and math, you know about the F around and the find out graph. I'm sure you do. But yeah, happens. We can surely get answers. But hey, that's just me. You're not devil's advocate. You're a Millenia mailman here, and that's the hot take that the devil's advocate for week 16 perspective wanted me to get across to you. Again, this will probably be a filler video somewhere on a day I don't film or forget to film and need to post something pronto. So enjoy the in-depth on the graph that no one cares about because everyone already understands it. But hey, that's just me. Questions, comments, concerns down in that comment section down below. As always, I genuinely do look at the comment sections all the time, as often as possible, because I do want your perspectives as I go about writing my book and such. And share the video for more exposure, or don't. Subscribe if you feel like it, or dislike the video. It's fine. I enjoy it. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I actually prefer you to dislike the video if you don't like what I have to say, so I can properly adjust in accordance to you. Because I'm neutral party. I don't have any particular sway to either side of any of the conversations. I just seek out understanding and your voice. So if your voice, you don't feel like you're being heard or properly represented, let me know so I can fix the issue. Right? But hey, that's just me. Peace. Bye-bye.